Welcome to another Blackflix and Chill recap. This movie summary is about the American sports movie called Creed, released in 2015.
They gotta fight for life.
Sit back and relax as you are about to watch a Blackflix movie recap that will inspire you to chase your purpose. The movie begins with cops trying to settle a fight at a juvenile prison. One of the boys involved, Adonis, is separated from another kid he's been punching. A lady comes to see Adonis and identifies herself as Ryan Creed, the wife of his late father, Apollo Creed. She adopts Adonis and takes him home. A couple of years later, Adonis, now an adult, competes in a boxing match in Mexico. Even though he has just gotten a promotion at work, Adonis quits his job, explaining to his boss that he doesn't feel fulfilled by it. When he gets home, Adonis doesn't tell Marianne about his resignation, only that he got promoted. He watches clips of Apollo Creed boxing with Rocky Balboa and practices their moves. Adonis heads to a boxing gym. He asks the man in charge, his family friend, Lil Duke, to train him and shows him the progress he's been making on his own in local boxing tournaments. He refuses to train Adonis because he doesn't want him to die like Apollo did in a boxing match. He also vows to make sure that no gym in LA trains Adonis either. Enraged, Adonis grabs some gloves and challenges any boxer in the room to end a clean headshot on him for his car. He knocks the first contender to the ground and asks Duke to bring more of his deadly fighters. Danny Wheeler, a contender for the heavyweight championship, fights Adonis and beats him to a pulp. The loss isn't enough to discourage Adonis. He informs Marianne of his resignation and desire to become a professional boxer. Despite Marianne's protests, his mind is made up and he tells her he'd be moving out of the house. Adonis gets an apartment in Philadelphia. He pays Rocky a visit in his restaurant. The place is filled with pictures of Rocky's fighting days. Rocky was Apollo's good friend and rival. He's shocked to find out Adonis is Apollo's son.
How do you know all this?
I'm a son.
When Adonis asks Rocky to train him, Rocky declines, saying he's moved on from boxing. Rocky says it was his fault Apollo died. He tries to discourage Adonis from boxing, saying Apollo would have said the same thing if he was alive. Adonis follows the news of an upcoming fight between Danny Wheeler and current world heavyweight champion, Ricky Conlan. This is to be the last match of Ricky's career because he has an upcoming 7-year jail sentence to serve. Both boxers are unbeaten in their career. Adonis can't sleep because of some loud music coming from a room downstairs. He knocks on the door and a lady, Bianca, who catches his interest, answers. He tells her to lower her music and she sarcastically says she would, only to resume playing it after he leaves. Adonis signs up at a nearby gym belonging to a friend of Rocky's, Peter. While on a night job, he comes across a bar with a poster of Bianca. He goes in and sees her performing. He's impressed. Conlan and Wheeler get into a fight during their face-off, causing the match to get canceled. Adonis visits Rocky again and asks him to train him. Rocky asks him if the people at his gym know he's Apollo's son. Adonis says he doesn't go by the Creed name, but rather his mom's last name, Johnson, because he wants to make it on his own. When Rocky insists that he isn't going to train him, Adonis asks Rocky to give him a few training tips. Rocky writes down some drills and hands them over to Adonis. Adonis asks Bianca out and she accepts. While on their date, Adonis learns that Bianca has a progressive hearing loss. She has an upcoming show and he volunteers to be her escort. For the first time in decades, Rocky visits Peter's gym. His old friends are all excited to see him. Peter asks Rocky if he could be his son, Leo's personal trainer, but Rocky declines. Adonis walks in and thanks Rocky for honoring his invitation. Rocky explains to Adonis that he never planned to go back to that gym and he doesn't even know if Adonis has what it takes to succeed in boxing. He tells Adonis that he would have to go through difficult training sessions, and if he doesn't show seriousness, Rocky would quit helping him. Adonis assures Rocky that he's ready to learn, and they begin. While they train, Rocky shows Adonis his reflection in the mirror and tells him that's his only competition.
I believe that's true in the ring, and I think that's true in life.
After training, Adonis hangs out at Bianca's place. One thing leads to another, and they have sex. While Adonis trains with Rocky, Peter brings him a proposition, a match with Leo. Adonis likes the idea, but Rocky declines the offer, saying Adonis isn't ready. Adonis' promise is to do whatever it takes to prepare for the match. He even moves in with Rocky just so he could take his training to a higher level. Rocky shows Adonis to his room, which used to be occupied by his dead best friend, Paulie. Adonis finds a picture of Rocky and his son, Robert. Rocky explains that Robert couldn't cope with the pressure of being Rocky Balboa's son, so he had to move far to Vancouver. Rocky wakes Adonis up by 3 a.m. for training and takes him to a street gym downtown. While Rocky drives, Adonis jogs. He introduces Adonis to the people in charge. Adonis struggles with their training routine at first, but he gets a hang of it. On the day of the fight, Peter tells Rocky he knows who Adonis is. Rocky begs him to keep it a secret. The fight is pretty even at first. Adonis begins to dominate. Oddly enough, the crowd starts chanting Leo. Leo takes some inspiration and starts beating Adonis. He continually punches Adonis with no response. Leo wins the first round. During the break, Rocky gives Adonis one of Apollo's signature moves.
I want you to throw your left under the radar. Then when you come up with this shovel hook.
The second round begins and the crowd chants Leo. Leo dominates again until Adonis responds and makes the fight even. While they exchange blows, Rocky tells Adonis to do the signature move immediately. Adonis does it and knocks Leo out. Leo isn't able to get up before the count ends, so Adonis is declared the winner. He celebrates with Rocky and Bianca at home. Bianca shows Adonis a song she made for him. Later on, the news of Adonis being Apollo's son breaks out. Bianca is mad at Adonis for not telling her and he apologizes. He explains that Apollo had an affair with his birth mom and she died when he was a kid, which led to him being taken to foster homes before Mary Ann found and took care of him. Meanwhile, Ricky Conlan's agent, Tommy Holliday, is looking to book one last fight for Ricky. He sets up a meeting with Rocky and Adonis to discuss a potential fight. He says Adonis is the only worthy opponent left to face Ricky because of his unbeaten record, even though it was mostly in underground Mexican fights. He tells Adonis that the only way the fight would get the intended publicity is if he changes his last name to Creed. Adonis doesn't like the idea, so Tommy gives him time to reconsider. Adonis tells Bianca about the meeting. She convinces him to take the name, saying it's always been his. Adonis discusses the fight with Rocky. Rocky tells him he doesn't know if Adonis is ready to fight or if he's ready to prepare Adonis for it, but he's willing to give it a shot. While they train, Rocky throws up and collapses and is rushed to the hospital. Does Rocky survive or does he die? Will Adonis go on to lose the match to Ricky Conlan? Watch on for answers. Dr. Catherine runs some tests and asks them to come back later for the results. Rocky gets a call from the hospital while training Adonis. When he gets there, he's told he has cancer. Dr. Catherine says it's still in its early stage and can be eliminated by chemotherapy. Rocky refuses to do that because his wife, who also had cancer, tried it and died. Dr. Catherine gives him his test results and Rocky asks her to keep it a secret. Rocky returns to training and acts normal. After training, Donnie finds Rocky's jacket in the dressing room with the results in it. After reading them, he asks Rocky when he's starting treatment. Rocky says he isn't and he's prepared to die. Adonis tells him he sounds crazy, but Rocky explains that everyone that means something to him is dead and he'd rather join them. When Adonis asks Rocky about their relationship, Rocky says they are not a real family and the only thing that brought them together is his boxing career. Adonis gets mad and leaves. Adonis goes to Bianca's concert to offer support. A fan asks for a picture and fondly calls him Baby Creed. Adonis doesn't like that and they have a heated argument. The next thing that happens is Creed throwing punches at the fan and getting arrested. Rocky gets word that Adonis is in prison and pays him a visit. Adonis tells him to leave him alone. Rocky senses that Adonis is angry with his father for abandoning him. Before leaving, he tells Adonis to forgive Apollo and move on with his life. After his release, Adonis pays Bianca a visit, but she doesn't want to talk to him. Adonis returns to Rocky's house and offers him a deal. If he wants Adonis to train, then he has to do chemotherapy. Rocky accepts. They have their training sessions in the hospital and the gym for the time being. At the press conference, Ricky deliberately gets on Adonis' nerves by calling him an overnight success who's only taking advantage of his father's name. It leads to a heated argument, but both are separated before any fight can take place. Rocky sets up a meeting between Bianca and Adonis. They reconcile. On the night of the fight, Adonis receives a gift from Mary Ann, boxer shorts on which is crested the name Creed. Rocky provides him encouragement and motivation. Just before the fight begins, Ricky makes some disrespectful comments about Adonis' dad, but Rocky tells Adonis to shut Ricky's big mouth up with a good performance. The fight begins. Ricky wins the first round. Adonis wins the second. Ricky the third, Adonis the fourth. The results continue that way as both of them constantly wound each other. In the 11th round, Ricky delivers a killer punch to Adonis, who falls to the ground. Rocky and Bianca scream at Adonis to get up while the ref counts. Adonis has flashbacks of painful memories and gets up instantly, to Ricky's surprise. Ricky pounds him and wins the round. Adonis' right eye is wounded and closed. Rocky asks him if he wants to stop, but he says no. The doctor subjects Adonis to an eye test to determine if he can still fight. He shuts his left eye and asks Adonis how many fingers he's holding up. Rocky smartly taps the back of Adonis' head multiple times, each time representing a finger. When Adonis answers the questions correctly, the doctor certifies him fit to continue. Adonis dominates the 12th and final round and delivers a killer blow to Ricky.
Slug test.
Ricky is on the ground for the first time in his career, however he manages to get up before the bell sounds. Ricky wins the match by a controversial split decision, but Adonis earns his respect. He tells Adonis he's the future of boxing and he should keep on fighting. Adonis thanks his mom, Rocky and Bianca on live TV after the fight. The fans chant Creed as Adonis and his entourage exit the arena. The movie ends with Adonis and Rocky climbing the steps to the entrance of a museum and enjoying the city's view from on top. Creed is a movie about a boxer who is out to prove himself in a world that has ruled him out. One thing we can all learn from this movie is that your background doesn't define you unless you let it. This movie starred Michael B. Jordan, Tessa Thompson, and Sylvester Stallone, and was directed by Ryan Coogler. The movie is a reboot sequel of the Rocky movies. Sylvester Stallone initially didn't want to star in it, but his wife convinced him to. What do you think about this movie? What's your favorite part? Tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe to our channel for more black movie recaps like this.